All right, we are back for another After the Rose ceremony for the LCME Secretariat call that happened in July 2025. In case you're watching this, like, I don't know, 10 years from now, and you just want to know. It's right now 2025. Okay. So we're going to bring up two things from this, and we have said some pet peeves about this. And we don't really mean that, LCME. If you're watching this, we love you so much. But what we mean is, so there's this thing about lots of schools are having trouble with getting students to complete evaluations, right? Like we try everything. There's all different kinds of things we do, but it actually is the struggle is real. And we have always been told that you cannot hold a student's grade in order to get them to complete an evaluation. So that question was put forward again, and Rob Hash said, yes, you can. And it immediately caused like everybody's phone was blowing up and texting like what, like what do you mean you can do this, what? And so I just want you to know that our very own, I'm going to out you, our very own Lisa Phelan actually typed in the question about what, like you've always said you can't and now you're saying you can, and that question was asked, and I want to clarify what I heard Rob Hash say. So what I heard Hash say, and I saw his face kind of, and he kind of like stepped back for a second, and then what he said, well, he said many schools have a professionalism component as part of a grade. And so a requirement for the professionalism component might be that you complete evaluations. That is very, very different than holding a grade until someone completes an evaluation. So
Yep.
for all, so first of all, that's what he said at the Q&A part. I can't remember if he said other things, but he definitely said that phrase. Very different. And I would also have to say, I actually think that you would not get away with this. I would not advise any school to use that. I don't think it's a good idea. And frankly, I actually don't think it's good for students. Even if the LCME like typed it out and wrote it in the DCI, you're allowed to do that. I think that's really not a good idea anyway. But he did not say that again when he was questioned on it the second time. He
Mhm.
did really not confirm it again.
Right.
So I don't know what you guys thought, or at least if you heard him say something else or different things, then maybe it was just my brain or
No, I heard the same thing initially, so I was like, "Wait, I've been going, thinking about this the wrong way," and that's what prompted me to like put the question in because I thought if I'm like advising people to you saying you can't withhold grades, I
Mhm.
want to make sure I'm giving good advice. So that's why I prompted it. So I think making it a component of a professionalism is exactly what I heard as well, and it makes sense.
Yeah,
It makes sense.
yeah, yeah,
So
And
totally.
for somebody who was on vacation last week and wasn't able to log in to listen, I'm very thankful, Jenny and Lisa, thank you for clarifying this because I was getting pinged from numerous people while I was on vacation, like, OMG, did you just hear what they said?
Mhm.
So thank you for clarifying it for myself and others as well.
Yeah, that's my thoughts, and I'm sticking to it. So there you go. All right. What else? What else came up that was of interest to our
one of
viewership?
the things that I picked up on, or I always have questions about the curriculum committee, similar to the admissions committee or the student progress committee, is the membership consisting mainly of non administrators.
Mhm.
And then they reference 2.4, which you don't put clerkship directors and course directors on there. And I was always thought, well, I feel like they're part of the administration.
Mm.
But if you listen to what they said, it sounded like you could have clerkship and course directors and they wouldn't constitute dean's level.
Mhm.
And then when prompted further on that, there was kind of like, well, we're still working that out. Did you kind of hear that, Jenny? Like they're still working out
Yeah,
whether it would count or not?
I heard them definitely say that they were trying to figure it out, and I think I also heard them say that they were going to get a little bit more explicit on that in a future rendition of the DCI, which would be helpful. So I would not rush to putting course and clerkship directors on your curriculum committee. In fact, you heard it a little bit more positively. I think I heard it a little bit more negatively that that maybe to not still do that, like to have because they talked a lot about having too many administrators, right? A
Yes,
ton
yes.
about that. And then the question came up, well, do clerkship directors count, yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
And what is the definition of a faculty member, right? So my rule has always been, and I guess it depends a little bit on how big your curriculum committee is, but maybe one, course and, somebody from like your preclinical and somebody from your clinical is fine because they can give that perspective of what it's actually like to run a course and blah, blah, blah. But I would steer clear again. I'm gonna go old school on having a bunch of course and clerkship directors on it. I don't think it'll fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And you
think
don't
that
want to create your committee and then they come to a final decision on it and give you advice, and then you have them already on it. So, and then you have
Yeah.
to ask to remove them. So I think I would steer clear as well.
Yeah, and I think it's extremely helpful for, depending on a school where they're at in reviewing and revising bylaws, to be very clear what their membership is and what constitutes faculty versus administration versus deans or
Yeah.
however that might be. And then who has votes and who doesn't. So even schools will have, might have deans or directors or folks on the committee, and some have voting privileges and some don't. So that's inconsistent,
Right.
from school to school. But anything that helps with further clarity on it being a true committee of the faculty and what that really is to look like,
Right.
help all of us in this kind of guessing game.
100%. But Colleen, they're not prescriptive, right? I mean, the
I mean,
LCME.
they say that.
I know. I'm being
I know.
facetious. They're not
I'm trying.
prescriptive, but by
I'm
God,
trying
if
to
you
be
have this, like, yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Okay, and I know we were going to talk about this. I just have one more thing that I think doesn't actually really come from the LC after the Secretariat call, but I have to say, you know how the LCME will say the 85% rule, like you have to have like 85%. I guess now would be agree versus like satisfaction with the new ISA. And they're always like, we have never said that. There's no rule. So I gotta tell you, just had a school 80% satisfaction team, 80% agree, 80% citation. Okay. So don't tell me. And they don't tell me. And of course they said 20%, didn't agree or were dissatisfied. I'm
Real.
forgetting which ones were, but yeah.
Oh.
So I just want you to know.
Oh.
They also talked in the webinar about 70% response rate, that they're really looking for at least a 70% response rate. So I think schools really need to pay attention to that as well.
Yep. And I think it's not just 70% overall. It's got to be 70% by each cohort.
Class. That's
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Jenny, you don't have to divulge anything, but I was very curious when you said the 80, was there a class that brought the average down for that particular school? Because I am curious of the, they do look at classes or cohorts of students, and
Yeah.
if one in particular was low,
It,
was that possibly what caused?
it was definitely a particular class, and in some cases, it was a regional campus.
Mm.
And just like one, not
Yeah, it's
yeah. Yeah.
I think that's the hard part when we're looking at the data is you can't just go to the total. You have to be
Yeah.
looking at every line.
Yeah.
I know we say that to all the schools we've worked with and our own schools that we work at.
Yeah.
But just making that clear to everybody, make sure every
Just
group
telling you.
individually has to be looked at in your
Just
IS tables.
telling you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one more thing.
Yeah. Yeah. You go.
When you sign up for the webinar,
Mm-hmm.
make sure you don't mistakenly delete the email that gives you the prompt to sign in, because you cannot go to the website and find it'll show you the list of webinars, but you cannot sign up for the Secretariat calls. So I was like sending emails out to everyone. Can someone send me the link to sign up?
That is kind of weird, isn't it?
129.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of
So,
weird.
yeah.
I'm sure people in our audience would probably be sitting there as they're listening and say, like raising their little hands, like, yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
I've done that.
Right?
I think
Yeah.
we've all done it, Lisa, so don't feel bad.
Yeah.
Well, especially when you're getting a bunch of them from Learn, Serve, Lead, and it's like, oh, you just hit and delete just to get through your emails. And so thank you for everyone who responded to me when
Yeah.
I sent out the blast.
A
Like,
global
"Oh."
thank you for that. Yes,
Yes.
thank you all. Yes. And thank you for listening to us or watching us on YouTube. However you choose to take us in, we're so happy about that. And if we can answer any questions for you, we'd be happy to. And this is how we are when we interact with you. So love us or hate us, this is what you're going to get. Okay. All right. So we're going to conclude, but if my colleagues will stay on the line after I hit stop record, which I'm going to do right now. So until next month, after the next call, farewell.
Bye.
Bye.